Alright, now let's do the one that goes ta 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 ti tum tum. Hello. Welcome back to Gavin Masters Raid. This is the best start guide. It is day 30. Today is a very special day, a very, very big day. We have a lot to cover. Yesterday, I asked about the best five. I've kind of narrowed it down to these five. We've got Kale and Sun Wukong already done. So that leaves Zenobia, Jamarsa, and Apothecary. I think those are going to be the other three. I think. I don't know. There's still time. I'm gonna go through your comments. I'm gonna consider your suggestions. But the biggest considerations are, of course, which champions are going to bring the most. And I think Apothecary, Jamarsa, and Zenobia are going to bring the most. Zenobia being the most dubious, but I'm going to be using Zenobia, which is not her real name, but that's what I'm calling her. I'm going to be using her mainly in the clan boss, but she's going to be the boss specialist that we go with. The other boss specialist that I was really looking at was Armiger, and we'll probably build him within the first 10. But anyway, today we're going to do a month in review, and we're going to do CVC. We got a bunch of goals for CVC. We're going to get a bunch of new champions too. I'm actually super excited to get them. So let's get to it. We're up against, and I just clicked past it without looking, but let's have a look at how the clan's doing so far. I am up a little bit later than usual, but that is that's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? So we are up against WSVE, which is short for WSVE. Okay, no problem. So far we seem to be in the lead. Kind of difficult to tell at this point. We're what, maybe 2.5 hours in to CVC. So I'm gonna grab my gems. I'm gonna check in because that is a very important thing to do. And for the month in review, actually before even that, let's get the daily. So this is my epic for day 30. So we're getting a bit of lag. Okay, and we get a bonus 4,000 points. That's very nice. So we're gonna get a bunch of cool little. I'm not even on the list yet. It hasn't registered. So I guess there's a little bit of lag there. We are gonna get a lot today. I am not even gonna delay this. I'm gonna go to the fragments. I'm gonna summon Jamarsa. I've decided she is slightly more important than Tagore as the very first AoE reviver, specifically because of this ability. Whenever an ally uses an active skill, it has a 20% chance of decreasing the cooldown of that skill by 1 turn. And the reason why that's important is even against clan boss, when I use Kale's main poison attack. If we just switch to the champions. In fact, we could be doing the month one in review here in a moment because I'm going to go over my best builds by the end of the month one. But here, we got Kale's main poison attack. These are the big poisons, and he's got 4 shots of placing them. So if I can get any cooldown reductions on this during clan boss, that's a lot more poisons on the clan boss. So Jamarsa is bringing that synergy. That's why she is superior to Tagore for the first 5. Because really, we want to get our first 5 to 6 stars so they can get all their juicy little masteries. Our target mastery for Jamarsa is going to be War Master. Even though she's mainly a support champion, I want one that's going to specialize on clan boss, and I guess it'll be her. So that means Tagore, I can actually have him specialize on defense and support and make him a dedicated support champ and not worry so much about damage. Jamarsa can be the hybrid. So I head to the market. I hate seeing those red dots get ignored for too long. Guardian Ring, we've got some levels to gain. When you think that it is time, game. So let's summon Zenobia. Very important. Been waiting a long time for this champion. Had to work so hard for this champion. And here she is. So we're going to build her either third or fourth. And then it's going to be... And we got 11 Drexstar fragments. That's good. In fact, let's just see if it's time to get another Drexstar fragment while I'm thinking of it. It's so easy to forget. And no. Got one in 9 hours. I am almost certainly going to forget that. So let's run the best dungeon once, because you know I hate seeing that that full energy. Somebody is in the Guardian Ring. And I don't actually have a preset for Minotaur. Okay. Well, it would have been Sun Wukong almost certainly. So we could put Sun Wukong in there. I don't know how well these champions are going to fare with... just hit start. Hit start, Gavin. Just do it. If it fails, it fails. And then we'll gear up the new champions. So we did this. We summoned Zenobia and Jamarsa. I want to book them. I'm going to hold off until tomorrow. So let me know, guys. Do you think it's more important to book Zenobia first or Sun Wukong first? Sun Wukong is more of a generalist, which is why I'm leaning towards Sun Wukong, but I'm thinking Zenobia, it's going to be important to cycle through her moves quicker when we're up against the clan boss. So that's why I'm torn. They both take Lego books. They're the only 2 Legos on the account, I think. I don't think we have any other Legos. So it's gonna that's where we have to direct the Lego books. We are going to be very short of those for a long time as well. So it's really important in the early game to get your legendary books onto the right champions to help you with the clan boss. Because the clan boss is really the only solid source of Lego books after that. I don't know where else we're going to get legendary skill tomes. There are a few on the various mission tracks. Maybe enough to book another champion or 2. Not many. So, how are we doing here? Kale's already dead. That's not a good sign. This is how we wiped last time. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if you remember this one. But I watched the team. Kale went down, and we basically got wiped by these 2 Luas. I'm hoping that does not happen this time. So we got the 1 Lua left. I think if we get through the Luas, they seem to honestly give me more trouble than the Minotaur boss and his minions. I'm not really sure why that is. It's probably got something to do with their modifiers. They're probably just absurdly high. Shield Guard would be another one to 6-star at some point. I just really like the way he's defensively built. Although it doesn't have to be Shield Guard. It's just that he cycles through his moves so quickly. And he does that thing where he shakes off debuffs. It's kind of hard to ignore all that. He could even be a clan boss stun target. Although so could Hoskarol, and Hoskarol's also defense-based. So, important things to consider. So, after this fight, I'm going to go over the builds for at least Kale, Sun Wukong. I'd actually like to upgrade Sun Wukong's gear. We have enough silver to kind of go around. I might start with Zenobia, though. And Jamarsa needs good gear, too. I don't know if I want to give Jamarsa Tagor's gear, though. Because he's a 5 at least. He's a lot tougher. He's probably going to be a better carry for other areas. This is the real struggle in the first month. We still do not have all that much in the way of really solid gear. If we can fully book Jamarsa's passive, it goes from I think a 3-turn cooldown to a 2-turn cooldown to a 1-turn to a 0. So if I understand this correctly, once it's at a 0 turn cooldown, we don't need to worry about Jamarsa's turns anymore. She'll basically just use her passive every time somebody uses an ability. But unless we have it fully booked, she's only going to get to use it once every 3 turns, and then once every 2, and then once every 1. And for Apothecary, we're definitely going to want to get him Giant Slayer for his triple shot. That'll really help with Clan Boss. And ideally, there will be enough healing support that probably nobody will have to be in lifesteal gear anymore. So we could even switch Kale out into something more suitable, or Kale could be a soloist, and we could then train up another specialist for the boss. But I don't know. Kale's our only poisoner right now. There is another poisoner that comes in at the end of month 2, but I think he's not as good as Kale. I mean, he's got attacks one enemy, damage increases against poison, meh. 2 hits, books to a 75% chance of the big poison. It's just kind of, I think mathematically, this works out to be probably still inferior to Kale. I don't know. I don't know. Plarium, this guy needs a buff. Please, please buff Yaga the Insatiable. Right now, I think he'd be better named Yaga the Unusable. Ah, so month 1 in review. Here we go. We'll look at the champions. We'll look at the dungeons as well. So Kale, this is the gear I've got him in. I haven't really changed this gear in the past week. This even got super lucky with the oils. We've got an extra 4% crit damage on it. I think that could get up to an extra 20. So he could have 100% crit damage gauntlets, which is just nuts to have this early in the game. But basically, when you're building your Kale, if possible, you want to build him with as much crit damage as possible, but you definitely want to get your crit rate to at least 85. At least 85 because of a couple of thresholds. One, if you're farming areas where you're mostly dealing with spirit champions, because he's a magic champion, he gets an extra 15% chance to crit them. So that means he'd have 100% with all of his attacks on all of the spirit enemies. But furthermore, he gets an extra 15% from this. This is true of all the starters, by the way. Every starter has a 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit on one of their attacks, usually on the big one that they have, whichever starter you have. So you can basically build whichever starter you have to either 70%, 85%, or 100%, depending on how universally used they're going to be. If Kale ends up just farming area 12-3, for instance, this place is basically just entirely spirit. So it's the perfect place for him to farm. We send him in, and he, because I only have 67%, it's actually a 97% crit rate with his big hit. So you're going to see him get weak hits occasionally with his smaller attacks. See, there was 1 of 4, maybe 2 of 4. I wasn't quite paying attention. But for the most part, when he gets around to his big AoE, he'll just level the waves. So it'll be really fast. Boom. Down they go. So that's basically how I've got Kale built. I should show his masteries too, shouldn't I? So he's the only guy that's got all his masteries. This is what the total stats look like one last time. Just in case you wanted to try to match it up. 3,000 attack. Very good number for him this early in the game. 180, very good speed for him this early in the game. Honestly, if you can exceed 150 speed in your first month, ideally in your first week, you want to just try to get the fastest stuff you can and get a speed above 150. With speed boots, you should pretty much be able to swing that on your starter. I'd love to push this to something like 200, maybe 220. Then for crit damage, end game, you want like 250 or more. But this early in the game, if you can exceed 100%, you're doing extremely well. I got just super lucky on the drops from the free gear with the Rathalos Blademaster thing. I happened to get crit damage on the gauntlets. I am not sure offhand if everybody gets a guaranteed crit damage gauntlet. The substats were not particularly lucky, but there's worse things than flat attack for an attack champion. Attack percent on the chest, although accuracy on the chest would also be good, particularly when you push to lower dungeons. I think we're actually going to start to feel the lack of accuracy here. Really, with dungeons, uh, you want your accuracy to be about 10 times whatever the level of the dungeon is. So this accuracy would theoretically only be perfect up to about dungeon level 7, and we're already past dungeon level 7, so I would love to get my hands on a accuracy banner, and I don't have one. I just straight up don't have one. This would put extra speed on Kale at the expense of a little bit of attack and a lot more defense. I'm actually pretty happy just to keep this one. This is a counterattack banner after all, so I do have a 5% counterattack rate with it. So these are the masteries. His full mastery sheet. Particularly important are War Master. Especially against clan boss or other bosses, you're scoring a big amount of damage. At this point in the game, with the stats that I've got him, even with Kale having the best stats on the account, the vast majority of his damage is actually coming from War Master and his poisons, which are getting an increased chance from Sniper and Master Hexer. And I've even got Cycle of Magic to try to get that move back. There's a 5% chance of decreasing the cooldown. And since he's not using his AoE against the clan boss, he's not using this one. This is to kill enemy waves, but once you get to the clan boss, you switch this off. You just, in the presets, you switch it straight off, and you hit a big old 1 on this. So you can attack 4 times at random. If I could get this cycling fast enough, there'd even be a case that could be made that if I could get him using it even every other turn, Giant Slayer might be superior. But because of the unreliable nature of that, I think he's probably better off just with War Master. But if I could happen to swing that, I don't know. I probably won't change the masteries. Probably not. Life Drinker, when his health drops low, he's just going to grab more health back with all the damage he does. That's going to be helpful. This can also help him cycle through his moves, although not against Clan Boss, but against waves. He's kind of a hybrid build. I wanted Kale to be able to do everything. And I covered this in episode 24 with what to look for when considering your force. Here, let's just scroll down to here, where you have your area priorities. So, campaign. It is required. Your first champion, your first 6-star champion, has got to be from, well, it has got to be able to do this. Has got to be able to do the farming. So the starter is typically the best, although there are other champions you can consider. Anybody that has an area of effect with a particularly good modifier, particularly Shield Guard. If you wanted to try out Shield Guard instead of Kale, I have tried this a couple of times now on new games where I tried out Shield Guard and Kale, spending a lot of time farming 12-3, and Kale I have just found to be more reliable than Shield Guard. Because Shield Guard can get a little bit unlucky. This is a finicky thing, but basically, if we just go back to the campaign for a moment, I'm going to point out this one thing, and I think this is the one thing that kills Shield Guard when it doesn't kill Kale as often. Shield Guard can shake off debuffs, but Shield Guard can get critically hit by Lord Shazar. Lord Shazar can then place 2 bombs. So Shield Guard might shake off a bomb a turn, but if he's critically hit, he's going to still have 2 bombs on him. So by the end of that first turn, both bombs will blow up and he will probably just die because bombs ignore all defense. So you're also building Shield Guard with lots of defense, not necessarily lots of HP. So with bombs, He doesn't even have an advantage compared to Kale when it comes to surviving bombs. Kale cannot be critically hit. So when he places the bombs on Kale, Kale still has an extra turn to kill the enemy wave. And that's the finicky thing I noticed is that I think really for the absolute most efficient place to farm, which is 12-3, any of the starters have an advantage over Shield Guard in that specific place. But you might want to farm other areas. You might want to farm here so that you can farm lots of lifesteal. And as you can see, this is all force. So that's where Shield Guard would be way better. And he'd just obviously be way better. Like this guy can place lots of poisons, and Shield Guard can shake off those poisons. So anyway, that's food for thought. That's why I chose who I chose, though. Even though I really believe in Shield Guard, and I don't know, maybe if I do this again next year, maybe Shield Guard will be the main farmer as opposed to whichever of the four starters I choose to start with. I chose Kale this time just because I wanted a poisoner, and it's good because we still don't have anyone else that can really do much in the way of poison except maybe War Maiden. War Maiden technically is a poisoner. She's got a little bit on her A1. She's got 30% chance of placing the weak poison for one turn. That's about it. We could also build somebody in a toxic set for clan boss, but that said, you know, you could always build Kale in a toxic set for clan boss, and then he'd have an additional poison on top of his other attacks. So that might be an even more efficient way to do damage to clan boss. You could probably bring that everywhere. We have enough support. I could probably even get away with putting Kale in a toxic set, but I'm probably still not gonna. But I have done that with poisoners before. Put them in toxic sets just to get even more. It's particularly good on champions like Venom Age or Chagur. I mean, I'm dropping these names. Maybe I should just quickly go to the index. Uh, I'm getting sidetracked here. You're just gonna have to bear with me. I am probably autistic and I just obsess over this stuff. So here we go. You have this move. Attacks two enemies, and he's got these chances of placing poisons. And once you have that, he then has a passive that lets him instantly attack anybody you poisoned. But his other moves don't have poison on them. But if you put him in a toxic set, suddenly he's just always poisoning, and you could just chain them incessantly. It is completely hilarious. The toxic set is kind of amazing. Um, and the other one I mentioned, oh, is actually also a lizard man. You don't even have to leave. She just gets even more out of it because she's only got one poison move here. But if you put poison on all of her kits, she's got her A1, which pops off two poisons. So she's placing poisons constantly with her other moves. You're just getting a lot more out of her. And she's merely an epic, so you are likely enough to pull her or him. It is not clear. Like, you look at him and he looks male, but then you look at the body language, you're like, hey, wait a minute, that's how the female champions move. So who knows what it is? Anyway, this we live in a modern age. Maybe Venom Age is gender neutral, non-binary. Maybe Venom Age doesn't want to be labeled. Maybe that's my bad. And here's I'm gonna mention one more champion, and I seriously considered building her for it in the first five just because of how extremely useful she is. But I'm probably not going to because we have Apothecary, and that's Eris. I considered her. She's great. She's got speed in dungeons, which is extremely useful at this point in the game. She has a counterattack anytime an ally gets attacked. Against clan boss, that's huge because it means in a 3-turn cycle against clan boss, she's attacking 5 times instead of 3. Or possibly 6 times, come to think of it, because she'd be attacking once every round, assuming she's not the stun target. If she is the stun target, then I guess she can't even cleanse herself, so she'd only be attacking 4 times. But you'd figure that out. But here she's got Exhortation. She can remove a random debuff from all allies. If you're up against the clan boss, that's just going to be the stun. And she's placing increased speed, so she's making the whole turn faster. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. She does need to be fully booked. That's the one thing. And I don't have enough duplicates of her right now to build her. Whereas Kale, I'm just going to throw, not Kale, Apothecary, I'm just going to throw the books in. Apothecary's one thing. Oh, there's also this. Grants an extra turn if you kill the target. So if you build her with a lot of damage, um, she can score a lot of extra turns. So this is the other champion that I wanted to bring up just because it can be a cool champion to put in a toxic set when fighting the clan boss because she gets so many extra attacks, counterattacks whenever somebody's attacked, that she's going to have, in a 3-turn cycle for the clan boss, she's going to have 6 chances of placing a small poison for 2 turns. And if you get her the masteries, if you get her these masteries, these two in particular, Master Hexer and Sniper, you then have a chance of placing it for an extra turn, and it rises to an 80% chance to place. So that is a pretty good way to build Eris. I might still build Eris just for Clan Boss. I've said this before. Eris is seriously on my end game Clan Boss team. She's that good. She's so good that even in the end game, I'm using her. Anyway, um, let's look at Sun Wukong. He has some of his masteries. I really want to push to get as many as possible. The whole plan right now, like this gear is actually pretty gimpy. I'd like to get these stats up, but right now this is where he's at. He's at crit rate 60. I sacrificed some crit rate to get him more crit damage, but I don't know. Maybe he'd just be better with 100% crit rate. It would be a 4-star set of gauntlets or better would get him to 100. It'd have to be 5-star. No, there is crit rate on this. So there is some synergy. This is what you like to see. You like to see crit damage with some crit rate on it. I would have liked to see more. That'll come with time. Honestly, farming gear in this game is a long slog. So let's look at Shield Guard's gear quickly. His gear, his stats, whatever. 74% crit rate. He is not especially fast. I'd love to crank up this speed, honestly. But I still have to favor the main people. And at this point, it's going to be these two and Zenobia. We got to get some gear on her. We need to get gear on Jamarsa and Apothecary. He's good. So let's go over Apothecary. Let's go over. I mean, I went over them the other day, so this is kind of me rehashing stuff. I got his speed to 202, and I've got him in my best Relentless set. So it's extremely useful because he will cycle through his turns very quickly, which is important. He's got. Here we go. The skills. You basically want him doing this as frequently as possible. So it's on a 5-turn cooldown. Let's fix that. Let's fix that now. It's CVC. This is the rare that's getting the books. So I'm going to upgrade his skills. We got 18 books. I think he's worth every book. We could even be cautious about the way we advance them, because we don't necessarily need to max out his A1. His damage is never going to be particularly stellar anyway. But we at least wanted the cooldown off this, and we want the cooldown off this. So we can inch forward 1 book at a time, and that's not right. So we go again, and that's not right. And there, we got it. How many books to spare? Just an extra 10% damage. Oh, it almost seems worth it to just take it. We'll just take the last book. Why not? He's going to be on the clan boss team, at least for the start. It'd be nice to get him some good damage. I don't know if we have any food to rank up him now. No, we really don't. So I'm not going to bother with the ranks today, but I am going to do the books at least for Apothecary. We got 20 epic books. So here are the candidates for more epic books. We have Tagore. We want this on a 5-turn cooldown because we want the revives as frequently as possible. This is a nice area of effect heal. Getting this down to a 3-turn cooldown would make him a lot more useful. So from 7 to 5 from 5 to 3, it could take as many as 10 books. So what about Jamarsa? Jamarsa is the other top priority, I'd say. Even Neldor Rhineblade's interesting, but I think he can get away with not having it. I mean, he can even spam his A1 against Fire Knight and other things, and it's good. I think he'll be useful unbooked. We also got Haikatoon. I've been forgetting about Haikatoon because honestly, she seems like she's a bit lackluster if you already have Apothecary or Eris. Um, she just or Diabolist. Diabolist, Eris, Apothecary all kind of seem like they do similar things to her, but also a little bit better. Like Eris, in addition to Haikatoon, Eris can cleanse the party. Um, Apothecary, in addition, he can heal a party member, and Diabolist. Diabolist is actually very similar, but Diabolist is faster than Haikatoon. And that just kind of leaves the aura that Haikatoon brings, but Sun Wukong is bringing a better aura in the arena. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to bother with Haikatoon, and it's kind of too bad because she is a good champion, particularly when you consider that one of the main factions we want to build is barbarians. And that's another case for Jamarsa because it's going to be one of the main factions we push faction wars in. In fact, if we jump ahead to faction wars, this is going to be part of the month in review anyway. Just jumping around here. Um, if we look at barbarians, it's one of the furthest ahead for this account. I think the only one further ahead is Dark Elf. And once we get Jamarsa in here, I'm going to be able to keep. It's too bad we can't look at the roster of levels from here. But for Dark Elves, I was able to get Kale by himself to protect a bunch of food, probably further along than I was able to get the Barbarians with my main Barbarian DPS, which is Shield Guard. But for Barbarians, we got a lot of good champions now. We got Shield Guard. So to fill the faction, we can look at the team that I can use to just start creaming faction wars. We got our main damage dealer in Shield Guard for now. If we 6-star War Maiden, she can be an additional second main damage dealer. She's also the main debuffer. The War Maiden does a lot of work too. We got Jamarsa, who's going to be cycling through everybody's stuff. Jamarsa is going to be doing the 3 turns to 2 to 1 to 0. She's going to be able to reduce the cooldowns of stuff like War Maiden's Crumbling Blast to more frequently than every 3 turns. Because if we could even reduce this by 1, I'd love to get more books into War Maiden. I guess maybe we have to farm the Badlands a little bit more. We could splurge on the books because I have a number of rare books, but even the rare books are hard to get a hand on. I would prefer to just passively farm additional War Maidens and save the books for other rares that are going to need them, such as Gavin, because Kale is already booked, right? I fully booked Kale early on to complete a quest. I actually fully booked this guy as well, and I'm already getting buyer's remorse for fully booking Grinner because at this point, I've started stripping gear off him. I don't think I'm going to be using him much of anywhere other than Faction Wars. So this was maybe it was a waste of books. I don't know. I like that he's got a revive on a 4-turn cooldown. That is, I think, the best cooldown you can hope for on a rare at this stage in the game. Most of the other revivers in the rares have a 5-turn cooldown, I think. We could go to the index and we can double check. So for ogres, for example, you got Gear Grinder. This is another one I'd love to get because he's HP based as well. So he can actually be built to hit reasonably hard, and there's an incentive to give him 100% crit rate. And that's why I really love Gear Grinder. A lot of people don't talk about Gear Grinder, but if you give him 100% crit rate, he puts this on himself. If he's in a regen set, that's just even more gravy. for regenerated health. He's got a heals all allies, and there's just a bunch of extra things. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. That's pretty cool. This is a 5-turn cooldown though. It's maybe actually I don't even think it's a slightly better revive. I think it's 50-50 on Grinner. So where are you, Grinner? On Grinner, it is. Oh, it's not 50-50. It's 50%, and then there's a 20% shield on them. So it's debatable which one is better, I suppose. Other revivers in the faction, arguably the best one. Not in the faction, but in the level of rarity. Tree Shield not. If you happen to pull this guy early, consider yourself lucky. I think this guy might be the best rare reviver in the game. But his revive is on a 5-turn cooldown. But you get 2 random allies. Only rare that can revive more than one ally at once. You can have, from High Elves, you can have Reliquary Tender. This is another very lucky pull if you happen to pull her, build her, she's great. You got a 3-turn cooldown on this Cleanse, which comes with healing, and 5-turn cooldown on the revive. So I think Grinner might actually have the best cooldown of all the revivers. There's I don't think I missed anybody. Let me know in the comments if I missed any obvious revivers from the rare category. Oh wait, I did. I totally did. There's one in Lizardmen. And it is Horospex. So his revive is on a 5-turn cooldown. Horospex is another neat one. He's got a speed aura in arena battles. This can actually be really helpful if you don't have any epics with a good speed aura for arena. He's got that revive, and he's even got a turn meter fill with increased speed. So he's kind of like yet another apothecary slash other speed booster like ability. So he's another flavor. He might even arguably be as valuable as apothecary because you could build him really tanky and he can revive if he needs to. Rather than having a single target heal and needing to keep people alive. But I guess that depends on how good you are at making your parties. Anyway, ramble. How long is this video so far? Wow, I've been talking 37 minutes. And we haven't even really done anything yet. My energy, let's keep the energy going then. So I'll run the best dungeon for now. Just passively run the best dungeon. There are other things to watch out for too. Missions, want to get to the greater magic potion mission thing. That is tomorrow. That's when the magic keep opens. There is also a challenge associated with it. I won't bother clicking on it because we'll see it tomorrow. This is all going to happen tomorrow. We don't have to worry about this now. For potions, I don't think we need to raid the force keep any further for now. I don't know. We'll see. This is not a huge amount of potions. Honestly, I probably am going to have to hit the arcane keep a little more. We could try to build out Sun Wukong's Ascensions now. We'll start with those. Come to think of it, just so we don't run out of these before getting Zenobia at least her 3rd Ascension. I'm trying to remember what she needs. Oh, it's this 30% speed in dungeons. I do want that. I think that's going to be extremely valuable. So let's ascend her 1st level, 2nd level, and we're already out of potions. So I can't even get it. What a shame. We're going to need more magic potions, so we'll do that tomorrow. That is on the list of things to do. But we can get Sun Wukong. 1 more Ascension Star. I still can't get him as banner, which is the thing I want the most. So we're going to need more of these. I think we'll even splurge. Maybe I'll farm. Yeah. I'm going to farm for these. And if I can get enough arcane potions, I might just splurge on the spirit potions and equip them for tomorrow. For today, I'm just going to have them farm the Minotaur. Uh, is there anything else I wanted to look at on the account? Come to think of it, because I could leave it farming in the background while I continue flapping my gums at you, but it would be better to make sure we're covering everything I wanted to review. So, I mean, I just said month one in review. I wanted to go over each of the best dungeons. Maybe we'll do that. We'll run over each of the best dungeons. I want to book Jamarsa. I'd already pre-decided this before recording, but now that I've been talking about how good Jamarsa's passive is going to be, it's like I'm talking myself into it more and more. The Forge. We definitely want to do the Forge ASAP. There's good gear in the Forge. I've been diligent about farming the Doom Tower, and we've got Guardian gear, which has a 10%. You basically, the champion wearing Guardian gear absorbs 10% of the armor, absorbs 10% of the damage, I'm sorry, from other champions, takes it themselves. So if you make a nice tanky champion, they can absorb that damage, take it for themselves, and they still have a 10% heal. If my first five are really going to be Kale, Sun Wukong, Zenobia, Jamarsa, and Apothecary, then the two most obvious people to be absorbing damage are actually Sun Wukong, who can just sort of die if he takes enough damage, but he can get himself back up because of his passive. The other obvious one would be Apothecary, because we could build him nice and tanky. We don't really have to build him for damage. But really, I like Apothecary and Relentless. I like getting him those extra turns. It's going to make the increased speeds more consistent. Mind you, Zenobia also has increased speed in her kit. So maybe Apothecary doesn't even need to take extra turns. He's still got the turn meter boost in addition, though. So that could be handy for the extra turns. And anyway, we don't necessarily have to put any of these five into that. It could be, say, Master Butcher. Master Butcher, the magnificent dwarf. You can put him in the back row. His passive won't work against bosses, but it works against any kind of enemy wave. So particularly in the Doom Tower, it could be good at keeping us alive as we start to take more and more damage working our way up the tower. So Master Butcher in Guardian gear is probably a good idea. A tour in Guardian gear could work, but I think I'm just going to leave him in my best shield gear. We got Shield Guard. I don't really want to do that with Shield Guard. Hoskarol is another decent candidate, and even Tagore could probably do it. Tagore's reasonably tanky. Jamarsa's reasonably tanky. You want them to be able to restore health, though. You don't want them taking too much of the damage, because if Jamarsa or Tagore is the one that goes down and they don't have another reviver present, then you're in big trouble. You don't have your whole party anymore. So Jamarsa and Tagore will almost certainly both be in regen. Kale will probably just keep the lifesteal he's got for now. So for the month in review, I think we're close. I just want to run those dungeons. Or we'll at least look at what dungeons they've got unlocked. So here are the dungeons that we've unlocked so far. Iron Twins, I haven't even bothered. I'm not even gonna try. The rewards are so pitiful from Iron Twins that it's not seriously worth attempting anyway. From the Arcane Keep, we pushed all the way to stage, wow, 17. That is not bad. For the Spirit Keep, can't see it, can't see it. But we got to level 13 here. So these are the main artifact dungeons. These four. This is how we're doing at the end of month one, and we can even play a game. You guys at home watching that are still paying attention here, looking at this. If you've been playing for a month as well, or when you've been playing for a month, and if you think of it, you can come back. Let me know how you're doing on each of the four dungeons. So I'm able to push to dungeon level 15 on Dragon. So Dragon 15. let's let's even do this. I'll do 2 6s. A dragon 15. We'll just do dragon 15 like that. I'll even try to make myself just a little more space this way. So dragon 15. Ice golem, we got to 11. Fire Knight. Fire Knight is probably going to be the hardest one to push to 20, but it might be Spider depending. So Fire Knight is 10, and I believe Spider's also 10. So FK 10, Spider 10. Pretty sure I didn't push that. With Spider beyond 10, I think what I'm going to need is an AoE HP burn champ, which I at present don't have. The other idea is using a lot of turn meter control and Armiger. Armiger might be the key to being able to beat Spider fast enough because he can do that turn meter manipulation. There's even a second one. When considering pushing Spider, the champions that can do it who are easily accessible are Armiger, because Armiger has this 30% turn meter drop if his attack is critical. And I'm building this guy. I've already got him. I even have him fully booked. And this can block revive. Doesn't really help you against the spiderlings because the spiderlings are not being revived. They're being reborn. Mama spider's just given birth to tons and tons and tons of spiders. So really, I'd probably be switching this off unless I could build him with a huge amount of crit damage. I don't think this is going to be a great move for him. I'd just use him to do 30% turn meter damage to the spider every time to keep her from taking an extra turn and healing herself. In addition, then from the High Elf faction, there's another uncommon on her A2. Elfguard can do 50% turn meter damage. You don't even have to give her 100% crit rate to do it. Just make sure she's got enough accuracy and preferably book this so that she can do it every other turn. Right now it's every 3, but it could book down to every 2. I was booking one, and then I think I ate her because I was in a hurry to level up. I guess it was Sun Wukong, but I could always build another one if I really needed to, and that might be the key to pushing Spider if we have no other options. But there are better turn meter controllers in the game. Those are just the only two that I can really guarantee right now. So that's kind of the plan there, a tentative plan. Is there anything else that we really need to cover? I haven't got my clan boss chests yet. Because we can of course go to dailies. That'll always tell me, oh yes, there's the elites. So they're the quests. Um, you know what? I might talk about the quests tomorrow because we are running out of time. So I think I'll get on the quests tomorrow. I haven't arranged the teams yet, but this is something I would not recommend you do if you have a clan that has rules about taking 3 elite quests right away. But this clan doesn't so far because a lot of the elite quests are kind of out of reach from everybody anyway because everybody's pretty new. But basically, the plan is to build one team for Tag Team Arena that does it all. And we'll go over that tomorrow because we are running out of time. But I want to do my clan boss fight. I want to get my clan boss chests. These are the rewards. It should be the chop chest from each one. Maybe we'll even get a shard this time for a change. Come on, Lady Luck. We got a shard. It happened. It finally happened. It only took a month and we got a shard. So, woof. Is it too much to ask for 2 shards? Yeah, too much. Hey, this looks promising. Oh, it's flat HP. Lame. I'm just gonna sell it. Actually, I probably shouldn't have sold that because honestly, it's still so early in the account that you never know what you're going to need. But you know, it's too late now. So the arena team, yeah, since this is a 1 month in review, I might as well go over the arena team as well. This is my farm team as it stands. I could also put Apothecary into the team um, to get even more speed control, but really I find this is good enough. We have the main nuker and Kale. We have the auxiliary nuker and the aura from Sun Wukong. And then we just have a lot of speed from Diabolist. Sun Wukong, painfully slow, but if he goes down, he gets to get back up in 3 turns with his turn again. Diabolist, fastest champion on the account, with her speed of 246. She comes in with her positive charge. Have her open with the positive charge. So she's filling turn meters of all allies by 15% and decreasing all enemies by 15%. So that's like a total of 30%, um, kind of. And speeding into War Maiden at her speed of 185 and then 180 for Kale. So War Maiden's going just ahead of Kale. And War Maiden's doing her Crumbling Blast, dropping everybody's defense. And Kale is just nuking the crap out of everybody with his Acid Rain. And because of the synergy here, this is one of the best things about Kale specifically. Fills the turn meter of this champion for each enemy killed. So if you kill 3 of them and there's only 1 of them left, you got a 75% turn meter fill. You may just go again and immediately slam that last guy with 4 hits. So this is a great way to make sure if you're mostly killing the party and one guy kind of lingers, that you're just wrapping around and killing him immediately. That's the team. Let's run it a couple times. Then I might see what more we can do against Clan Boss. I don't know. I need to take some time to build the champions, and I could do that with you guys, but I could also just do that on my own time and come back and show you tomorrow what I built on particularly Jamarsa and Zenobia, because I'm pretty sure I can crank up that Clan Boss damage quite a lot just by including these champions. They just need to be in the right gear. Zenobia probably needs at least 100 accuracy. I'll build her in perception if I can. We'll go to the forge. That's how we're going to wrap up the day. We're going to wrap it up at the forge. I'm just going to I'm going to speed farm. This is what speed farming looks like on this account at the end of month 1. 30 days in, I have an account that's got Kale as the nuker. We have a fully functioning War Maiden. We have a fully functioning, well, I don't even have to say fully functioning. Diabolist does her moves at 100% as soon as you get her. It's just a matter of getting the cooldowns if you happen to want them. But with War Maiden, it's trickier. You need to get duplicates of War Maiden, or you need to put books into her to get her drop defense to 100%. That's the one really tricky thing. That's the one thing where I'd say you might even do better to simply go after Spirit Host first. Spirit Host in place of War Maiden. Spirit Host would get an extra 50% to Kale's attack. I think that's a less extreme number, but it is a 100% chance to work, and you don't have to book her at all. So that's an alternate consideration. The meta team for a starter account is pretty much, we'll just click on here. It's pretty much Spirit Spirit Host in the lead. If you don't get to start with Sun Wukong, I don't know if Sun Wukong is going to be a forever code. I kind of hope it is, because Sun Wukong is just such a fantastic champion to give everybody. And he's a great equalizer at this point in the game, because it's really, really difficult for new accounts to get started. I think new accounts need more help. I think they need more chickens, first of all. Polarium, if you're listening, good God, give us like 5 chickens right at the start of the game. Within the first couple of days of starting the game, there should be 5 chickens somewhere just to help get that starter to 6. That helps get people started, or, getting Sun Wukong to 6, whoever it is you want to start with. But the meta for the arena would be Spirit Host here, and War Maiden and Diabolist and your starter as the nuker, whichever starter you've got. And you see that a lot in the arena. But you can replace any of these other ones with an additional nuker. You could even just go for 4 nukers. You're still better off having somebody to speed lead, which is why I'd probably keep, if I were only keeping one supplemental champion and 3 nukers, I would want to keep Diabolist or whoever your speed lead is. It could, you could use um, Apothecary, right? And I do have Apothecary, and once Apothecary 6-starred, he's probably going to be the one in the main arena team. What I really like about her is she's just so fast right now. And if I can 6-star her, she'd get even faster. And really, I want the best chance to outspeed them. And I was not paying attention when I clicked on this. Ultimate Death Knight really, really is an extreme pain to take out. Let's make sure they focus on him, because Sun Wukong is going to keep getting back up. This is where it would really pay to have a champion like Conqueror or Armiger come in and just kill Sun Wukong so that he can't keep getting back up, because otherwise, like this fight, this took almost a minute. We still got it, but it's an extremely good combo, Sun Wukong and Ultimate Death Knight. It really is a shame new players don't get Ultimate Death Knight anymore, or maybe it's not a shame, because this is OP and this is a big headache in the arena. But I'd say basically, oh, and you know what? Even with Armiger, because he's only got one hit, he'd actually still hit Ultimate Death Knight. And I think it's the same thing with Conqueror. Who would you need? You need somebody like Fenax, who interestingly is also on this team. Fenax would be the way through. Basically, you'd use War Maiden or some debuffer, do the decrease defense on Sun Wukong, have Fenax come in so he can get his double shot and take out Sun Wukong. That's what I do on my main account. I don't have Fenax on this account. I would love Fenax. He would be such a good champion. I adore Fenax like more than a friend. Sexy bastard. Anyway, what are we doing, Gavin? What are you talking about? So maybe I'll do a clan boss team. I'll just hammer out the clan boss normal. And that's it. Oh, Forge. Here, it's good that I looked. Forge. We'll do the Forge. And that's the last thing we'll do. And it's seriously, we got like 2 minutes before I hit my hour. Not that anybody's going to punish me for not getting it all done, but anyway, we go to the clan boss, and quickly, we'll just do normal. So we got our 4.79. That's a lot better than what we need. I think we only need a 3.6. So yeah, we're always one keying not normal at this point. I don't even bother with easy anymore, just because we're getting normal now. I want to use my other keys to try to get a guardian chest. We actually got a shard for once this week, so that was pretty fun. So here's where we're at in the forge. We have not much in the way of this other stuff. We will farm out more resilience and perception. Resilience is of limited value. I mean, you get extra HP, you get extra defense. For defensive and support champs, honestly, I prefer to just put them in regen or immortal. So the extra stats you get out of these, it's pretty low. So usually you just farm this stuff out and then you immediately sell it. So let's see. We could do a 10 sheet of resilience, for example. And that cost 10,000. So we can go to the champions and look at the new gear, and there's probably going to be more than just that. But we can look at just the resilience. Yeah, we only have the 10 pieces. So let's say we just wanted to sell all of this. You'd be getting 13 times your investment. We spent 10K. This is almost 14 times, in fact. Um, this one, is this a particularly good piece? I'd say no, actually. Doesn't have speed on the substat, and attack percent just does not go well with this set. So I'd say I'm comfortable just selling all of it. So you can make silver that way. If you're low on silver, it can be a good way to do it. It's particularly good during CVC. Um, I also wanted to I guess show off or talk about the Guardian gear. Now we've only got the weakest stuff because this is a weak level account. We're just farming this from Griffin. Uh, and you know what? Because this is the month in review, let's do the Griffin fight once as well. Probably only takes a minute. Griffin you want to do fast. Because he's got a spirit affinity, this is ideal for your starter champion to take down the Griffin. There are things to watch out for. The Griffin has the ability to reflect your debuffs back on you. And he gets more and more powerful as the fight drags on, so really you want to take him out fast. But if you have a 6-star Kale or Elhain or Athel might actually be the strongest champion against Griffin. I think just because of the way she cycles through her turns, you can place Weaken on the Griffin, and she can place Increase Attack on herself as a free turn. Against bosses, I think Athel has at least as much potential as Kale, honestly. Even though most people will say Kale, it depends. Early on in the game, it's probably still Kale because your gear is going to suck. So most of the damage is coming from poisons, which doesn't change. There's nothing that really increases poison damage other than another debuff, which is poison sensitivity, which we don't have. If we happen to get a frozen Banshee or some other champion that places poison sensitivity, then we can do more damage with poisons. I'd actually be really happy if we pulled a frozen Banshee. She would be well worth doing. She might be in the first 10 because she replaced Kale doing poisons for Clan Boss. And I mean replace. You could bring both, but she just straight up replace him because she seriously places so many poisons that Kale's poisons would just be in the way. He'd be putting some small poisons and some big poisons, and she'd just be completely filling the curse bar with big poisons. But again, we don't have her. But that was the Griffin. This account can farm it. I guess we'll say between 1 and 1.5 minutes. And you do that every day. You get a number of resources for the Forge, and you get the Guardian gear. Wearer absorbs 10% of all damage dealt and heals by 10%. So it's almost as good as a regen set. But you're also taking additional damage. So this is ideal not for the Reviver and not for any of your nukers, but for anybody else that is meant to soak up damage anyway. This will make them even better, and it'll make them more healy. So we can farm up a bunch of this stuff. Heck, we could do all 100. See how many points we get. I'm actually pretty comfortable with this. There might be a mission coming up where we have to build a bunch of stuff. Well, let's build 50. We'll build 50 pieces and we'll see what we get. Now, somebody else had told me that if you hit spacebar, this can go faster. Maybe it's other things that go faster. Maybe it's Ascension. Collect. We'll do one more. So we got some interesting looking pieces here. I'll go through them. I'll see who they go on. That's probably it. I don't think I have much else to talk about today. I don't think I do. I think that's it. Yeah, we got our best dungeon. So really, I mean, I just continue farming Minotaur, although I'm probably going to switch it up and try to bring these 5 on the Minotaur team. Hopefully they can survive. So I'll start by leveling up Jamarsa. We'll book Jamarsa. Let's book Jamarsa. That'll be the way to polish off the video. So Jamarsa needs, how many books does she need? And you know what? I'd also like to double check because sometimes, oh, actually, we need to send her before we book her. This is important. Don't start shoving books into a champion without ascending them if the thing you wanted, the main thing, is this. So we got to ascend her. And if we can't, then I guess I know what we're doing. We're actually farming potions. But I was pretty diligent in farming force potions. So we have enough to get her to 3. So she's getting her extra passive. That's about all she's getting because we are completely out. I mean, I could spend 1. I don't like doing too much of that, but let's just get her to 4 for now. And we can upgrade her skills. So we really want this. So 3, we'll do 3 at a time. So we get phasing. Seriously? That's kind of amazing, guys. That's really amazing. So anyway, that's all I've got for today. Let me know in the comments where are you guys at in terms of how many sixes do you have? What are your best dungeons, or what level are you at in each dungeon? Do you need help with any of the dungeons? Let me know. You can even join the Discord server. You can post your roster. You can ask around. We can help you out. Seriously, check out the Discord server. The link is in the description down below. And feel free to like and subscribe, of course. We could even Rochambeau for it. You know, rock, paper, scissors, go. And I chose rock this time apparently. So you actually have to subscribe if you chose scissors, and if you chose paper, then I'll still allow you to subscribe, but that's up to you. And that's all I got to say for today. So take care of yourselves. It's always a pleasure. See you on the next video.